everybody for Race Amity Day. I'm just going to give you a little bit of history. Actually, in the beginning, in 1957, it was called Race Amity Day. And it was started by the Bahá'í National Assembly. And it was known as Race Amity Day until 1965, when the name then switched to Race Unity Day. And it was established to promote racial harmony and understanding. And of course, you know, hopefully a greater understanding as to why prejudice of any kind affects our ability to even establish peace in our world. Since the conviction that we belong to one human family is at the heart of the Baha'i faith, the principle of oneness of humankind is the pivot around which the teachings of Baha'u'llah revolve. So today we're gonna just maybe I have a lot of writing, so you know we've done this for at least the last 4 years, and over those years we've collected just a lot of quotes by different people all over the world. Certainly different religions, but other leaders of thought who seem to understand about the principle of unity. So we are going to read some things, and then basically I'm just going to finish with a story. And then any kind of discussion or thoughts, we're really open to that. So let me just show you where these are. They're in here, and you can just grab one or two and read if you want to. So how about if I just pass it, and those who would like to read can. They're kind of stapled together, so. And then John, I know you have something to share.
Yeah. These kids know how to read? Yes. Capability.
Let America be America, for equality is in the air we breathe.
Langston Hughes, American poet. Internal peace is the essential first step in achieving peace in the world. How do you cultivate it? It's very simple. In the first place, by realizing clearly that all mankind is one. That human beings in every country are members of one and the same family. The Dalai Lama.
Please.
Our flag is red, white, and blue, but our nation is a rainbow, red, yellow, brown, black, and white, and we're all precious in God's sight. From Jesse Jackson.
We do not live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men, and among those fibers, as sympathetic threads, our actions run as causes, and they come back to us as effects. Herman Melville, author of
This is a poem from Susie Kassem called One But Many. One God, many faces. One family, many races. One truth, many paths. One heart, many complexions. One light, many reflections. One world, many imperfections. One. We are all one, but many. And this is from Frank Norman, who is a aeronautical engineer from NASA. When you're finally up on the moon, looking back at the Earth, all these differences and nationalistic traits are pretty well going to blend, and you're going going to get a concept that maybe this is really one world, and why the hell can't we learn to live together like decent people?
That leads me to read a quote from Baha'u'llah. We dwell in one world and have been created through the operation of one will. Blessed is he who mingleth with all men in the spirit of utmost kindliness and love. And again he says, this heap of dust, the earth, is one home. Let it be in unity.
Ralph?
Our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures. And we are all mortal. John F. Kennedy.
You want to pass that to Bill and see if he wants to read it?
My hope is for us to come together not only embracing shared beliefs and values, but acknowledging our differences in ways that promote respect and appreciation. To ask for a shared vision is a fair and legitimate human proposal. What is not fair and legitimate is to dictate the ways on how we get there. If we are to emerge from the long shadows that engulf us, we must talk with each other, come to understand each other, and renew ourselves in our perceptions of each other. Alma Abdul Hadi Jadala.
I don't want to prevent anybody else from reading. Does anybody else want to read something?
I've got this one thing. I have to find one that now or later. It's not very long. It's,
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure if anybody else wanted to read
Yeah.
it.
okay.
That looks like everybody's done.
Of course, Abdul Baha was such a proponent of racial harmony and unity when he came to this country in 1912 for 9 months or so. Here's some of the things that he said. Praise be to God, today the splendor of the Word of God hath illumined every horizon, and from all sects, races, tribes, nations, and communities, souls have come together in the light of the Word, assembled, united, and agreed in perfect harmony. Oh, what a great number of meetings are held adorned with souls from various races and diverse sects. Anyone attending these will be struck with amazement and might suppose that these souls are all of one land, one nationality, one community, one thought, one belief, and one opinion. Whereas, in fact, one is an American, the other an African, one cometh from Asia, and another from Europe. One is a native of India, another is from Turkestan, one is an Arab, another a Tajik, another a Persian, and yet another a Greek. Notwithstanding such diversity, they associate in perfect harmony and unity, love and freedom. They have one voice, one thought, and one purpose. Verily, this is from the penetrative power of the Word of God. If all the forces of the universe were to combine, they would not be able to thus to gather a single assemblage so imbued with the sentiments of love, affection, attraction, and enkindlement, as to unite the members of different races, and to raise up from the heart of the world a voice that shall dispel war and strife, uproot dissension and disputation, usher in the era of universal peace, and establish unity and concord amongst men.
So, because we're here, it means that we understand how important loving everyone is, no matter the race, ethnicity, background, faith, whatever. But it's that love among all of us that is necessary to move the world forward. And not just that, but what it does for us when we try to build those signs of compassion and love. Now, knowing that and getting to the other part of it, that's hard. You know, we look at our world and it just seems to be more misunderstood when it comes to unity than understanding. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to read a story that I just recently found, and I thought it was an excellent example of what does it take to get from what we believe in our hearts, what seems logical, what seems just and right, to actually making it happen. So I thought I would share this with you if that's all right. This is a true story that actually happened here in Nebraska. We always say nothing really happens in Nebraska. TV never mentions Nebraska. Nothing happens here. But this actually did happen in Nebraska, in Lincoln, I believe. In 1991, the Grand Dragon of the Nebraska Ku Klux Klan mailed a Jewish family threats and told them their days were numbered. The father's only response was to start calling the man back and leaving him kind messages. His name was Michael Weiser. He is a cantor, a singer who leads his congregation in a prayer at a synagogue. He and his wife Julie had just moved their family to Lincoln, Nebraska to serve a new community. They are unpacking boxes, they are making plans, and then the packages begin arriving. Hate literature, anti-Semitic pamphlets, neo-Nazi flyers, arriving at their home address, which means the sender knows exactly where the Weisers live. Then the phone call starts. The voice doesn't introduce itself, it doesn't need to. The messages say, "You'll be sorry you ever moved to Nebraska, your days are numbered." The calls are coming from Larry Trapp, the Grand Dragon of the Nebraska Ku Klux Klan, one of the most active white supremacist organizers in the Midwest. Trapp also operates a local hate hotline broadcasting recorded anti-Black and anti-Semitic messages to anyone who dials in. He has spent more than 20 years building a life around organized hatred and has threatened multiple minority communities across Nebraska in the same year alone. He is, by every measure, a man entirely committed to the worst version of himself. Most people in Michael Weiser's position would call the police. Some move, some lock the door and go quiet and hope it stops. Weiser calls Trapp back, not to confront him, not to match the anger with anger. He leaves a message on Trapp's answering machine, steady and plain. "Larry, I just wanted you to know that you must be a very unhappy man. There's a lot of love out there for you if you want it." He calls again a few days later. Another message. "Larry, why do you have to live this way? It doesn't have to be like this." No response. Weiser calls again and again. And over the next 3 weeks, he leaves message after message. Not accusations, not arguments, just a human voice on the other end of the line, refusing to be an enemy. One day, Trapp picks up. He is furious. He tells Weiser to stop calling. He uses language designed to end the conversation through shock, and Weiser doesn't flinch. He says calmly, "I know you're very sick, Larry. I thought maybe you needed a ride to the doctor sometime." There is a long pause. "How do you know I'm sick?" This is what Weiser knows. By this point, Weiser has learned what Trapp's few acquaintances already know. Larry Trapp is 44 years old. He has diabetes so severe that both of his legs had to be amputated. He's going blind from the same disease. He lives completely alone in a small apartment in Lincoln. He cannot drive. He rarely leaves. He has almost no one in his life, just the network of hate that has given him purpose and identity for more than 2 decades. Here's what quietly changes the shape of this story. The man who has been sending a Jewish family death threats is himself a man in profound and worsening isolation. He is not a powerful figure behind a fortress wall. He is sick and a dying man alone in a spiritual apartment. And no one in the world is offering him anything except the ideology that told his loneliness that it was someone else's fault. Michael Weiser sees this, and he decides it matters. He and Julie show up at Trapp's door unannounced. They bring a homemade dinner. November 1991, Larry Trapp's apartment. Trapp opens the door and sees a Jewish man and his wife standing in the hallway with food, and he lets them in. The apartment walls are covered in KKK materials, swastika flags, and neo-Nazi literature. The full physical landscape of a life built around hatred. The Weisers sit down. They don't debate him. They don't argue doctrine or history. They share a meal with a man who told them their days were numbered. And they treat him like a human being who still has time left. Larry Trapp starts to cry, and he cannot stop. Before the evening ends, he tells the Weisers he wants out. He asks them to help him take the symbols off his walls. He calls his KKK contacts that same night and resigns, and he makes it official and permanent. It is done. What followed? Over the next several months, Larry Trapp converts to Judaism, the religion of the family he had targeted. He meets individually with members of the minority communities he had threatened, and he asks each of them for forgiveness face to face. He is welcomed into the Weiser synagogue by a congregation he once would have treated as enemies, and then his health collapses. The Weisers move him into their home. All three of their children grow up sitting across the breakfast table from a man who once mailed their family death threats. They care for him, and they stay with him. Larry Trapp passes away in September 1992, less than 1 year after that first dinner. He dies in a Jewish home, tended to by a Jewish family, after spending his final months trying to undo 20 years of harm, one conversation at a time. Catherine Watterson told the full story in her 1995 book, Not by the Sword. It remains in print. Weiser was asked many times why he did it, and his answer never changed. He saw a suffering man underneath the hatred, and he thought someone had to say so. That is all it took. One phone call, a few weeks of messages, a pot of food, and the refusal, stubborn, patient, absolute, to become what hatred wanted him to become. Now, honestly, if anybody wants a copy of the story, I did read